back here with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. How are we doing?
Oh, Bronny's in trouble.
Don't do that.
Here comes Giannis. Did you see Giannis last night? They just destroyed Indiana, and they're coming for the Lakers now. And then the Clippers are coming for the Lakers. And you're about to take 2 L's in a row. And LeBron's going to come to your restaurant twice in a row. You got Friday night and Sunday night.
You know what?
Just reserve the back room for LeBron.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I was in an event yesterday. And a lot of the Lakers showed up. JaVale and KCP and Danny Green and Keith
Shannon
Mark.
Sharpe.
Yeah.
Really?
And AD. He said, oh, you need to come on down to this game. Come to one of these games.
Yeah, good. You should
gonna
go
go?
sit on the bench. Yeah.
Check it out.
Oh, no, me and old Rich might stop in there and do a little something.
You can be serving it up for LeBron on Friday night and Sunday night. Welcome, LeBron, to House of L's.
You see that energy you got right there?
Yeah.
Now, I need that Monday.
Yeah.
I need that energy right there.
You get it.
No, I don't want no excuses.
Yeah, I'm going to sleep good on Friday night and Sunday night.
Okay.
Yeah.
We got a couple days before that. Until then, we have a packed show today. Should we be concerned about Zion after last night? Should the Niners move on from Jimmy G? And will Amari Cooper be playing somewhere else next season? But first, let's start with a significant development out of New England. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady have finally spoken, guys. The two talked on the phone Tuesday about Brady's pending free agency. But NBC Sports Boston reports that the chat, quote, wasn't particularly productive and that the coach was all business. And the Boston Herald added that the conversation, quote, didn't go well. Shannon, what does this tell you?
It tells me, Skip, if we're to believe what these reports are saying, that we're still heading for an exit. Skip, I don't know what Tom was expecting. Tom has known this man for 20 years. The one thing that we do know, Coach Belichick treats first guy the same as he treats the 53rd guy. And plus, if all of a sudden he'd have got on the phone, hey, Tom, how are you? How are the wife and kids? You got any vacation time coming up soon? You earned it. If I'm Tom Brady and I hear Coach Belichick acting like that, considering he's never said this before probably, I'm going to be leery. I'm like, oh, you sneaky, you know what? So Coach Belichick is being Coach Belichick. And so what did he think? Did Tom get on the phone and he thought Coach Belichick was going, Tom, you know what? Take some time away. Take the wife on a vacation. This thing's going to work out. We got $70 million guaranteed, 2 years. Everything's going to take care of itself. Was that what he was expecting, Skip? Because you know one thing about Coach Belichick. When it comes to football, it's business. And he treats it as such. So if Tom was expecting this this nostalgic moment, that's not Coach Belichick, Skip. You know that. Everybody knows that. So I don't really know what Tom was expecting if these reports are to be true. And Skip, look, at the end of the day, Coach Belichick is basically saying, Tom, the mere fact that they're willing to let you go test the market should tell you something, Skip. The Cowboys are not going to let Dak test the market. They're going to slap that tag on him. You let somebody test the market, you're subjecting yourself up for something that, because somebody can throw a ton of money at him. Skip, it's easy to pull weeds out of a garden than it is to uproot a tree. Now, Tom Brady's foundation is in New England, and someone knows it's going to take a boatload of money, more than the Patriots are going to be willing to give, to get him out of that situation. So for me, Skip, I mean, this tells me what I've said all along, that Coach Belichick is like, can take it or leave it. I believe this was a courtesy gesture. Mr. Kraft probably wants Tom back a lot more, a hell of a lot more than Coach Belichick. And this conversation, this call was probably more out of courtesy than out of necessity. But if these reports are to be believed and be true, Skip, I don't know what Tom was expecting from Coach Belichick at this juncture.
I disagree with that takeaway before I get to mine. I believe Tom Brady, and you can call him naive and cliched and lame and corny and all those things, but he's got those things going on in him to the point, I do believe, and I think Belichick did make the call to him, if I read this correctly. I believe when Tom answered, there was a part of him, maybe a pretty large part of him, the hopeful Tom part of him, not the psycho Tom that we see when he goes crazy angry on the field. I'm talking about the guy who lives somewhat in a fairy tale world, the guy who plays with his kids in the leaves and puts it on Instagram.
Yeah,
that guy,
right, okay.
I believe that guy was hoping, maybe against hope, that for the first time in 20 years, they would have a good conversation. They would have a warm conversation. They would have a fuzzy one. And that for the first time ever, he actually had leverage over his coach. Enough so that he was willing to be flattered by or honored by some warmth back from the guy who's been his business partner, joined at the hip for 20 years. That's a long time, man. And that's a lot of glory that you experienced together. That's 9 Super Bowls and 6 wins that could have been more.
Right.
And apparently, according to this definitive report in the Boston Herald, it did not go well, right? And that's the first from a source. And by the way, I'm going to qualify this report. Karen Guregian has been with the Boston Herald for 36 years, and she has covered the New England Patriots since the 2007 undefeated regular season, okay?
Yeah.
Just qualify it. I know we've had some issues with Tom Curran's reporting, NBC Boston, but this is hardcore, take it to the bank, okay? She doesn't swing and miss on these. Multiple sources, and she's saying that her go-to source says it didn't go well, and it started off on the wrong foot, and that certainly does not help this situation. So let's give it some credibility, okay? Because this is news.
I like that.
Okay, thank you. And now we step back, and what's the upshot, Mr. Sharpe? Behold, the biggest story in NFL history just got launched. It's what we've been talking about for weeks, and it just launched because Belichick just launched it because it didn't go well in that conversation. So all of a sudden, it's looking highly likely he's out, right? Because that's what the head coach wants. The only qualifier here, the only caveat is this is a football chain of command phone call that got made. This is from the head coach who controls football operations. But you know and I know there's one other man who has the final say on anything New England Patriots, right? The buck finally stops on the desk of Robert Kraft.
Especially when it comes to Tom Brady. Everything else he let Coach Belichick.
Okay, you got it. But this is the biggest thing that has ever happened in the history of the Patriots is that Tom Brady is on the edge of unrestricted free agency. He's about to hit the market. And I'm telling you, I'm predicting to you, it's going to be Brady mania, chaos, firestorm of teams saying, we want to be the lucky team that the GOAT chooses to turn into an instant Super Bowl contender. And I'm guessing that Robert Kraft, unless he has been won completely over by Belichick's logic about this, because I'm with you, Belichick has said no. Belichick has decided, well, he's decided 2 years ago, that's enough.
Yes.
And you could argue it's because he believes he is completely hit the wall, washed up as he approaches 43. Or you can argue, look, I've earned the right after 20 years with this guy. I just want to go show you I can do it without him.
Well, Skip, what led me to believe that Tom Brady would not finish his career there is that when they started talking about this, Tom started talking about this, play until he was 45. He said that Mr. Kraft would co-sign it. The one person that never said anything about him playing the 45 was Coach Belichick. But I want to ask you this one. You said the article said it didn't get off on the right foot. It didn't start on a good note. For who? It might have been a perfect note for Coach Belichick. I guess it didn't get off on a positive note for Tom Brady.
It's the note he wanted to play.
Right.
He wanted to send. That's the message he wanted to send. He wanted to send an alienating end of story message, right?
You said the relationship between Coach Belichick and Tom Brady is for 20 years. How long have you known Ernestine?
Since 2005.
So 15 years. If all of a sudden a playoff game was on, and you're like, Ernestine, come on in here and sit down by me and let's watch this game together. What you think she's going to say, Skip?
She'd call the doctor.
Exactly. Exactly. You see?
She would call the doctor.
What's going on?
Exactly. You see? So now, you've known this man for 20 years, and all of a sudden you expect to get a phone call where he's going to be warm, fuzzy, inviting.
That's a good point.
Gary, really?
Why would he do it now?
Yes.
Because he finally got desperate and finally realized, I just can't do it without him. This is too dangerous.
No.
I'm on thinnest of ice here.
Skip, you know the greater the person, or be it, forget his genre, be it music, be it football, basketball, for the sport. Skip, when you're that level, you believe you can do it on your own. There's a reason why these great groups split up and they go to Justin Timberlake left in sync, because he believed he could do it on his own. Michael believed he could do it on his own. He didn't need the Jackson 5. Coach Belichick, Skip, I don't care whatever you put him on. Coach Belichick believes he can win a Super Bowl without Tom Brady.
You better believe he believes it.
Yes!
I doubt it. In fact, I'll go on record as saying he will not.
But he says, you know what? I want a chance to prove it.
Okay, and he's earned that right, and I give you that. I'm just not sure his boss, and he does have a big old boss.
Yes.
I'm not sure his boss is down with that yet, because we have heard zero from his boss. His boss has been oddly radio silent.
Well, he did say...
oddly off the public grid, right? We have heard or seen nothing from Robert Kraft on this matter,
Well,
right?
I think they asked him, Skip, maybe around the Super Bowl time, maybe a little before. They asked him about the situation, and he says, you know what I want. That was basically...
Yeah, that's true.